Hey guys! So today I wanted to go over the entire mold story with you. I've talked about mold a little bit here on Instagram, and I just haven't gone through the whole thing. And I think it's important to share because this is something that can happen to anyone. There are almost 50% of the buildings in the US are water damaged. 1 in 4 people can't detox mold without assistance from supplements and additional therapies. So it's something that's relatively new as far as our understanding of it goes, but of course it's been around forever, and often when you're sick with mold it gets diagnosed as other things because it's really tricky. It's a difficult thing to diagnose, and it's not really talked about a lot in medical communities yet. There are doctors that are amazing and that are doing lots of research and can treat patients with mold illness, but for the most part it's an unknown biotoxin. So our story starts like this. We moved into our house 3 years ago. Everything looked fine. We did an inspection, of course. It's a relatively newer house, and we noticed one clue to the water damage, but it was very small and we kind of just dismissed it. It didn't seem like a big deal. It was a outlet cover that we used because of our 2 little kids, and it was a clear plastic outlet cover, and it had condensation on the inside, so it was literally covered in droplets of water. And we thought, that's really weird, there shouldn't be moisture back there, but we didn't really know what was going on. We didn't have any other signs to suspect a problem. So that was just one outlet cover in one bedroom. And then our second sign was a little bit later. Our kids were sleeping in that bedroom at the time, and they started getting really sick, like back-to-back sicknesses, which is highly unusual for them. I was freaking out, like, what am I doing wrong? What can I change in their diet to boost their immune system? Like, what changed? Because before then they had been really, really healthy. So at some point, and our daughter, who was sleeping in there throughout the whole night, would also cough like all night. You could hear her coughing. So I would diffuse breathe essential oil in there, and that would help to calm it down. But it was, if I didn't diffuse that, then she'd be coughing. So at some point she decided, hey, I want to move to the other bedroom across the hall and sleep in there. And we thought, that's fine. Like, we're not using that room. Like, just, go on over there. So we eventually permanently had her sleep in the other bedroom, not the mold bedroom. So her coughing stopped. The girls stopped getting sick so much. It was really weird, but we still didn't see any mold or know anything about it. So we actually discovered the water damage because somebody knocked on our door from a lawyer's office and told us, hey, the company who built your home is known to take shortcuts. There's a major lawsuit against them. There is a lot of water damage because of the shortcuts that they take when they're building the homes. So we can set you up with this lawyer who can allow you to and enable you to collect a settlement from them for repairs of any damage that might be there. So we thought, okay, great, let's pursue this and see where it goes. So they came out and did testing. They found the water damage. They weren't trained to look for mold, but we did start that process of getting the settlement from the builder. It's a process that takes about 2 years. So we're near the end of that right now, but that means that we can't do anything about the mold unless it's out of pocket, which is very expensive. So we're kind of stuck waiting for that settlement to come through. Later on, things kind of escalated when the baseboard right underneath that outlet that had the wet outlet cover, the baseboard started peeling away from the wall. So Garrett goes in there and he just pulls back the baseboard a little bit to see what's going on behind it, what would cause that, and he sees the mold. There's a strip of black mold right behind the baseboard. So he stopped messing with it, didn't touch it anymore, which is good because the spores get aggravated when you mess with them. So that's when things started to really escalate, because we knew that the mold was there. And so that, of course, started me on a rabbit hole of research and figuring out, what does mold do to you? Like, how do you get rid of it? Why is it there? And so it's been a really crazy ride. So before we discovered the mold, I started to get health symptoms too. So I actually wrote down a bunch of notes here so I don't miss anything. But I had stomach issues from the past. that started about 10 years ago. It's like extreme bloating and discomfort in my stomach to the point where it's hard to breathe because my stomach is just so bloated, it's pushing up on my lungs. And I had dealt with that before. Acupuncture and essential oils had eliminated that for me. And so it comes back right during this time period before we discovered the mold, but it was there. And I also started to have anxiety. I had to quit drinking coffee altogether. I had a lot of fatigue. I would wake up and like within half an hour or an hour, my energy would all be gone. So I basically had adrenal fatigue. I had seasonal blues. Like I was not happy. I was like bordering on like depression and just sadness because of the time change and the darkness coming earlier, sunset coming earlier. I had hives. I had never had hives before in my life, and I had frequent hives all over my body. I had difficulty breathing. I had food allergies that I never had before. I had apnea occasionally. At night I would be falling asleep and I would suddenly just stop breathing, and it would like jolt me awake, and I would have to like relax again, try to fall asleep again. My vision changed a little bit. I would have like occasional blurred vision, little floaters, like white bright lights or dark spots in my eyes, weird stuff. I have to pee all the time, like, you know, every hour I'm going to pee. It's ridiculous. Brain fog, sometimes memory issues as well, and then lightheadedness, which I think is in relation to the food allergies, histamine intolerance. I never had any of these things before, okay? This was all like sprung on me within a relatively short time period. Of a couple of months, this all kind of came together. I had just had our second daughter about 10 months before this happened, so I thought, you know, my hormones are regulating things. There's still hormones that are elevated after pregnancy for a whole year, and then they start to taper off. So I just thought I need to balance my hormones. That's what this is. And so I went to, I started going to a functional medicine doctor, Dr. Axe. You've seen me talk about the Root Cause Clinic. It's now called Axe Holistic Clinic, and I'll tag that in some of these videos. So I started going there. They found out there, I started on some supplements for the adrenal fatigue. We didn't know there was mold in the house, so we weren't pursuing that at the time. But they found out that my neck had lost its natural curve, and that means all of my nerves are not operating at 100%. So I went through 5 months of intense spinal rehab therapy for my neck in order to retrain the muscles and relieve the pressure on all the nerves in my neck, because those things control breathing. You know, there's a lot of different functions of those nerves, and if they're not operating at 100%, then you're going to have some symptoms. So after that 5-month period of spinal rehab therapy, I did begin to feel a lot better. Like my symptoms all lessened because I was able to function more optimally, and so my body could deal with what the mold was causing. But over time, you know, I didn't keep up with the therapy because my initial program was over. It was a long drive to go to the clinic, so I was like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna, you know, take a step back and see how I feel. Well, my symptoms started coming back within that year, and that's when we found the mold as well. And so I started to like piece things together and figure out, okay, this was caused by the mold, this was caused by probably my spine being out of alignment. I found out that I had H. pylori, which is a bacteria that lives in your stomach. You can be exposed to it at a restaurant, a public drinking fountain, public bathroom. You know, if I ran out of water in my water bottle, I would just fill it up at a public water fountain, right? So I was exposed to that probably years ago, because I think that's what was causing the stomach discomfort, the bloating, that sort of thing. So I found out I had that. And so I've really been trying to like pull out different things that have been making me sick. First, the spinal therapy. I took the supplements for the adrenal fatigue. I took supplements for the H. pylori, and that was gone. Well, it goes down. It can be almost removed from your body to where you don't have the symptoms, but it tends to come back. It tends to like linger a little bit, so you have to kind of keep an eye on that and take the supplements for maintenance. So I am feeling a lot better than I was during the worst point, for sure. Things have improved a lot. And so the first thing we did when we found the mold in the bedroom was we started diffusing thyme and tea tree oil in that room nonstop, and also in our air handler, because mold is really tricky to kill. The spores disperse throughout the entire home, and and you have to use very specific substances to kill it. So like vinegar is a good one. I think you have to like wash all your clothes with like borax once you get out of the mold, and like to really clean them and get rid of that, any lingering stuff on your clothes. I have to research that more because we're not there yet. It's still in our house, so I'm not going through all those extreme measures yet. But just to keep our air a little bit healthier, we were diffusing the thyme and tea tree oil. You can Google those and find out like how they actually kill the mold. The tea tree is good at breaking down the biofilm, the protective biofilm around specific biotoxins, and that is what allows them to die, because their protective barrier has been broken. But the spores were already all over our house. I mean, in our other bedrooms, if there's condensation on the window from the temperature difference inside and outside, and I don't wipe it dry all over the inside of the window, then in a day or two we'll see little mold colonies growing. They have a specific like rounded shape. You can Google that, and that will grow in the windows all across the upstairs. So the spores are everywhere, you know. So like I said before, we're kind of stuck because we're waiting for that settlement from our builder and from our insurance, as our house insurance as well. So we really need like a brand new wall where that water damage is to totally get rid of it. And then we're considering maybe fogging the house. There's a company around here that will fog your entire house with vinegar and hydrogen peroxide. I forgot the other one. But that is supposed to kill the spores that cover your furniture, your carpets, your walls, and then they retest to make sure that the spores are all gone, and anytime they find new spores within 1 year's time of the initial treatment, they will come back and treat your house again for free. So we're considering doing that afterward as well, but really we can't do a lot of this stuff until the remediation is done, until there's a new wall there and the source of the water damage and the mold is gone. So what are we doing right now to help our bodies through this? Because it is crazy as I learn more how many changes happen in your body because of the mold. I was just listening to a podcast yesterday by Dr. Andrew Heyman, and he said that in his patients, he treats Lyme and mold patients. Often Lyme and mold go together because when you might have Lyme dormant in your body from a bug bite that you got years ago, and when your immune system is compromised with mold or with a major life stressor, then that Lyme can activate, and then suddenly you have all these terrible symptoms when it was something that was really living in you for a while and just waiting for the right time. It's called an opportunistic bacteria or a stealth infection that kind of hides in your body until another stressor happens where suddenly your body is busy over here dealing with this, and so the bacteria or infection kind of like comes to life. So this doctor, he sees a lot of Lyme and mold patients, and he says that in his mold patients, 700 genes are activated because of their exposure to mold. They're not activated in, healthy people. So that was mind-blowing. He also talked about a lot of inflammation in the brain that happens because of mold. That's where like the brain fog, the difficulty concentrating, the memory loss happens, headaches can happen. So there's a lot that mold can do to harm you, and again, it's very hard to determine if it's from mold or if it's from something else. So you really have to like do your research, go to your doctor and tell them, look, I want to be tested for this. I want to find out if this is a biotoxin causing my problems. I'm gonna tag a great laboratory called Great Plains Laboratory. And from there, you as a patient can order your own test, whether it be like a urine test, a stool sample, a saliva sample. You can order that test kit, and in some cases the test kit is free until you take it to your doctor, have them sign it, and then you ship it back to Great Plains. And they say in most cases your doctor is the one who sets the price for that. So you can order that kit and just tell your doctor, hey, sign this, I'm going to be mailing this off to this laboratory, let you know what I find out, and then you can really know more about what's going on in your own body if you suspect something like this. They have a lot of other specific tests on that website. I just found this last night and I'm like blown away, because if you suspect something is going on, your hands aren't tied anymore. You can order the test yourself. If your doctor won't sign it, just get up calmly and tell them, okay, I'll go find another doctor who will, no big deal, because they want your business, so they'll either sign it or, you know, what's the worst they can do? Not sign it, and then you go find someone else who will. So I'll tag Great Plains Laboratory here as well. So let's see. So the good news is there are ways to heal from this. We just have to either get out of the house or remediate the right way with someone who knows what they're doing, and then we can start more treatment. So what we got from Dr. Axe is a mold detox protocol, and we kind of held off on it because the mold is still here. I was afraid that we might have worse symptoms if we started detoxing and then like continued to be exposed. But the more I prayed about it, I felt peace about it. We started the detox last week. It is a 6-week detox, and you do like 1 week on, 1 week off, 3 times. And we felt really good the first week. And actually the first day, one of my symptoms went away. I had this weird thing where at night when I was falling asleep, I would have like my jaw would be clenched, my knees would be pulled up to my chest, and I just felt like all the muscles in my body were tight. And it wasn't just at night, but that's when I slowed down enough to feel it. So it was really happening all the time, throughout the day too. And the very first day that I did this detox, I'm laying down in bed, falling asleep, and I realized like my jaw is not tight. It's actually like comfortable, and my legs were laying straight out. I was not like all up here uptight, and that was amazing, because that's a symptom that I've had for years. I don't know what toxin was causing that. This detox also detoxes heavy metals, I believe. So there's improvements happening in areas that I don't even know in my body because of this detox. And I forgot to get out. I was going to show you the bottles. I'll show them up next, like in a picture or a video or something. And it's 3 things. So the first one is zeolite drops. Zeolites are a compound that is shaped in a way that it captures the toxins. So the zeolite in this detox is meant to like bring the toxins out of your cells in like a little cage. Basically, their molecular structure is kind of like a cage, from my understanding. And so you're bringing the toxins out of your cells, because part of the reason you can't detox like by yourself without the supplements is because those toxins get like pushed into cells to store them, because your body is trying to protect you and insulate you from them. It doesn't know what to do with them. So the zeolites help bring them out in that cage form, and you take the zeolite drops twice a day, and then you take a binder at night on an empty stomach, because a binder, our binder is a supplement made of multiple binders actually. So it's like activated charcoal, apple, pectin, I think there's a clay in there, and what was the other one? I meant to bring the bottle out. Like I said, I don't have the ingredients memorized, but it's multiple things. And so what the binder does, this is so important, this is what prevents you from having those detox symptoms like headache or muscle fatigue or flu-like symptoms, because the binder latches on to those toxins that the zeolite has brought out and helps your body to eliminate them without letting them run around in your body and make you feel sick. So this is something that I only learned recently. I had never thought of, like, I always thought that when you detoxed, you would have those symptoms, you'd be uncomfortable for a while because you're like releasing all these toxins and they're just kind of flowing around in your body. But when you use a binder, that doesn't happen, because it's latching on and it's kind of insulating you from those symptoms. You may still have like a minor flare-up of your symptoms when you're taking the zeolite drops, but it's not, what I experienced was not any worse than what I was already experiencing on a regular basis, and it went away within about an hour or two. Because you take the drops in the morning and in the middle of the day, and then you take the binder at night. So you do have a little bit of space during the day where those toxins might irritate you a little bit, but it was very, very minor for me, and it didn't happen every time I took them. And then the third factor in this detox protocol is liquid liposomal glutathione. So glutathione is a very powerful antioxidant, and its purpose in this detox is to support your liver, because your liver is going to be, kind of working overtime to filter things out during a detox process. So we take that every single day throughout the 6 weeks. The other 2 supplements you just take 1 week on, 1 week off, so your body can rest between rounds. So the more I research, the more I learn that glutathione is a very, very important factor in this. So that's what we're doing right now. And like I said, it's a 6-week long process. And initially we tested our C4A levels in our blood. So that's a factor in the innate immune system. And when it's elevated, that is a good sign that your body is responding to mold. It's not a good sign. I mean, it's inflammation, and your immune system is like way in overdrive all the time, but is a marker that helps us to know what our body's doing. So a normal C4A level is 2,000. Mine is 26,000, because it is working way overtime to fight this stuff. So that might be where the hives come in, that might be where the sensitivities to food come in, because if your immune system is already working so hard, it's just very sensitive, and it's going to be attacking things that are normally good for you. So the next thing we're gonna do after the remediation is done and the fog is done to get the spores out of our house, because remediation alone doesn't get rid of the spores. Like, it takes an extra step of either you cleaning everything with a very specific process, or doing something like the fog. And we're just going to see what happens with that. It also depends on how sensitive you are. So you may feel fine after remediation, or you may not. It depends on like the severity of the issue as well. If you have mold, growing in every room of your home, and like it's like really a big water damaged area or something like that, then you might just have to leave the home, unfortunately. But it'll be better for you, because then you'll be feeling better. So anyway, I've also learned a lot from Dr. Jess here on Instagram, and she's been an incredible source of information for me as I continue to learn about this. And she recommends a protocol called Kill, Bind, Sweat. So she has a supplement that helps to kill the pathogens inside your body, and then the bind is like the activated charcoal or another binder, and then sweat is an infrared sauna or an ozone sauna every single day. So her clients that are using this are actually finding that the towels that they use in the sauna after they've gone through the kill, bind, and sweat, their towels are like have black stuff on them, like toxins are coming out of their bodies. It was a clean towel when they went in the sauna, and maybe they sat on it, or they were like drying off their bodies with it while they were sweating. That's important to do, because you don't want the toxins to be reabsorbed. You don't want to let that stuff dry on your skin, because your body, your skin will just be exposed to it again. So make sure you're drying yourself off throughout that sauna experience. So there, you can go to her page and see pictures of their towels with the black stuff on it. So that's where we are right now. I think that's everything. I'll continue to update this and talk about this as time goes on, and as there are updates, because again, I think it's something that most of us know nothing about until it happens to us. So if you're struggling with a mystery illness or chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, something like that, it's something to look into, because if you went to school in a moldy building, if you go to work and there's mold in your building, if you've ever lived in a home that there was water damage, it doesn't even have to be visible mold. Like, we couldn't see anything that looked like mold until the baseboard came out, but the mold was there making us sick far before that. So again, if you've ever spent any amount of time in a water damaged building, then you've been exposed to mold, and for 25% of the population, we don't detox that without additional help. So it remains in your body. Even if you were a kid and you went to school in a water damaged school, you could have the symptoms now if you never went through a specific detox protocol. So that's why I'm sharing this, because Again, because there's not a lot of information about it out there yet. There's not a lot of people or doctors aware of it yet. So this is something where you have to research for yourself. You have to order that lab test from Great Plains to find out if you have the mycotoxins from mold in your body. And just be really diligent with tracking down the different options that might be, or the different pathogens that might be affecting your health. Okay, so I'd love to hear what you guys had to think about this. If you're going through something similar and you've found things that really helped you, share them with me. I'm trying everything right now, so let me know. And if you just want to talk and have someone who relates to what you're going through, it's very frustrating, it's very scary at times because of the symptoms. Just know you're not alone. I'm here to talk anytime you want to, and I'll catch up with you guys soon.